Ca Dario, a curse carved into exquisite stone. This palace seems as though it has stepped out of the canvas of a mystic painter. Its facade, faced with precious pink, green, and white marble, appears almost distorted under the weight of centuries. This is Ca Dario, a jewel of architecture, and perhaps the most cursed building in all of Venice. At the end of the 15th century, it was built by Giovanni Dario, a diplomat who once saved the Republic in difficult times. But fate's gratitude proved short-lived. His daughter, Marietta, married a nobleman who was soon stabbed to death on the very steps of this palace. Unable to bear the grief, Marietta took her own life, and from that moment on, the curse awakened. Every subsequent owner of Ca Dario met a strange and tragic end: bankruptcy, suicide, or an unexplained death far from home. A wealthy English collector was killed in a violent confrontation. A count who purchased the palace was found shot. A famous tenor lost his fortune. Even a corporation that owned the building went bankrupt. And this was only the prelude. You are watching On Travel. Stay with us. This story will only grow more intriguing. So, it all began in the glorious 15th century with Giovanni Dario. He was not a patrician, and his lineage could hardly be called particularly noble. Yet, thanks to one important achievement, Giovanni confidently entered the circle of men who held great significance for Venice. He succeeded in negotiating peace with Sultan Mehmed II, for which La Serenissima richly rewarded her subject. Naturally, like any respectable man of his standing, Dario acquired his own palace on the Grand Canal, a building that would soon bear his name. To this day, an inscription adorns its facade: Urbis Genio Ioannis Darius, Giovanni Dario to the genius of the city. Perhaps, incidentally, this is precisely why the palace torments all its owners. It is dedicated to Venice, and perhaps it can belong to no one else. But let us return to the 15th century. Giovanni had a daughter, Marietta, who married a young man from a neighboring palazzo, Vincenzo Barbaro. And that is when everything began to unravel. First, Giovanni himself died. Vincenzo, a patrician and a member of the powerful Council of Ten, was soon expelled for his uncontrollable behavior, casting a shadow over the entire family. Poor Marietta could not endure it and took her own life. Soon after, Vincenzo was stabbed, and their son died on Crete. These three deaths gave rise to whispers among the people, rumors of a curse and a dark fate surrounding the beautiful palazzo on the Grand Canal, said to have been built on the site of an ancient cemetery. The Barbaro family took possession of this ill-fated place and held it until the early 19th century. Either they were somehow spared by the curse, or they managed to conceal its effects, but it brought them little apparent harm. Still, something compelled Alessandro Barbaro to sell the palace to an Armenian gemstone merchant named Arbit Abdal. He went bankrupt almost immediately after becoming its owner. In 1838, the palace passed to an Englishman, Rawdon Brown. However, just 4 years later, he put it back up for sale due to the impossibility of maintaining and restoring it. One might say he was the only fortunate one. Brown died a natural death in Venice in 1883. In historical accounts, another figure appears with a similar name, Robert Balder. Though unrelated to Brown, his story echoes later events tied to real owners of Ca Dario. The palace then came into the possession of Countess de la Baume Pluvinel, who hosted the French poet Henri de Régnier. While everyone seemed to survive their stay, the poet fell gravely ill, forcing him to leave Venice. After the war, a new figure emerged, the prototype of Balder, an American named Charles Briggs. Forced to leave Venice due to scandalous rumors about his personal life, he fled to Mexico, where yet another suicide soon followed. It was as if Ca Dario had spread its wings, beginning its dark work, luring new victims into its grasp. Yet people were in no hurry. Everyone wished to live. For a time, the palace stood empty. In 1964, among potential buyers was the famous tenor Mario del Monaco. On his way to Venice to finalize the deal, he was involved in a terrible accident. After a long recovery, he canceled the purchase, just to be safe. A few years later, the palace was acquired by Count Filippo Giordano of Turin. However, his status as owner did not last long. In 1970, he was murdered inside the palace by a Croatian sailor named Raoul Blasic, with whom he shared more than simple friendship. And Raoul himself, after fleeing to London, was later killed. Even representatives of the entertainment world fell under the palace's shadow. Kit Lambert, manager of the rock band The Who, did not live a long life. According to rumors, he was afraid to spend nights in Ca Dario because of ghosts. In 1981, he died in London after falling down a staircase. He was only 45 years old. In the 1980s, the palace continued its chain of tragedies. Businessman Fabrizio Ferrari moved to the Grand Canal with his sister Nicoletta. After becoming the rightful owner, he lost all his assets and savings. His sister died in a mysterious accident, and although Fabrizio survived, he suffered a severe nervous breakdown. Then, one of the richest men in Italy entered the story, Raoul Gardini, who purchased Ca Dario for his daughter. Soon, he was struck by a series of economic troubles, followed by the massive Tangentopoli corruption scandal. In 1993, he shot himself under circumstances that were never fully clarified. After these horrifying deaths, no one doubted the curse anymore. The palace stood alone, silent, ominous. With no buyers, its price fell from $11 million to $6.8 million. It was for this amount that director Woody Allen nearly purchased the Palazzo, but, apparently weighing everything carefully, decided he preferred to go on living. Director Roman Polanski also considered buying it, and also refused. Both men are still alive today. And yet, even in our century, the palace has left its mark. Once again, the name The Who appears. On June 27, 2002, one of the greatest bassists of all time, John Entwistle, died in his sleep at the Hard Rock Hotel in Las Vegas from a heart attack induced by cocaine. It happened just one day before the start of the band's US tour, and only a week after he had rented Ca Dario. No scientific explanation has ever been found for these events. The last owner purchased Ca Dario in 2006. It is said to belong to an American family, though nothing is known about them. Even after restoration, they never moved in. Nearly 20 years later, the palace has once again been put up for sale, now valued at 20 million euros. The palace waits for a new owner. Or perhaps it does not. They say that at night, in its empty halls, one can hear the weeping of a woman, perhaps Maria, or perhaps all the unfortunate souls claimed by the palace. Its walls, so beautiful by day, seem to absorb darkness at night. Ca Dario is not just a haunted house. It is a living organism, feeding on misfortune, a beautiful, insatiable predator of stone and marble. And yet, behind the dark legends and mystical tales of the curse, something essential is often overlooked: its architecture. The building is asymmetrical, its facade shimmering with circular patterns of marble and porphyry. It is believed that Ca Dario was built on the site of an older Gothic house, which may explain the lingering sense of the past within its form. Its architectural foundation is Renaissance, yet Gothic motifs still emerge in its details, creating a strange and unsettling fusion of eras. Some decorative elements, including a neo-Gothic balcony, were not originally part of the structure and were added only in the 19th century. Particular attention is drawn to the roof, where ancient chimneys still survive. In the 15th to 17th centuries, such chimneys crowned nearly every house in Venice. Today, they remain rare witnesses of a vanished time, just like Ca Dario itself. A palace suspended between beauty and a sinister mystery.